So, where we left off is the group of you had just come home from a mystery that you solved to find your basically only contact with the Harbingers dead. What do you decide to do?
You went to the house and found him dead there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what does the scene look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's this body?
So
Where are we?
the body is pretty much in the doorway of the abode. Uh, if you make a mystery roll, it can kind of, or if you make what roll would you like you to make to kind of get some information on that? Um, probably an investigation roll. If you make an investigation roll, I'll tell you about that. But the body is in the doorway, essentially, right in the entryway. It doesn't appear that there was a significant struggle or anything like that. It's just at home. With the investigation results that both Nick and Kezia got, you can make the inference that it seems like he was about to let someone in, or he let someone in and then was attacked.
Is it clear, like, cause of death?
It's a little difficult to tell. What I would say is that because there's no real visual indicators, but it's in the doorway, it almost seems as if it was some magic means of death. Do you investigate the body as well and like get closer?
Absolutely. I am right in there.
Yeah.
First thoughts are, does this mean I don't get access to the library? Okay, wait, no, body, let's go.
So the in his pockets, you actually find a key with a business card for a Velen Slavinsky.
Sorry, what was the name?
Velen Savinsky. I can put it in the Rolls20 chat for y'all. Go.
Perfect. Thank you.
And there is an address.
I pull out both of them. Does anybody happen to know who Velen Savinsky might be? Is that familiar to anybody here?
I don't know.
I don't think I know.
The only person who might know would actually be Nick. And even then, it'd be a little bit of a stretch.
Is there a role I could perhaps make in order to recall this information?
So I'd probably go with an observation type thing.
Let's go. It'll be 2 successes.
Okay. Does anyone else want to make it?
No, I think I'm going to be spending some time examining the body while this is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still focused on the body, I think. And I've got like the key and stuff like that, but
I think Father. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I think Father Iskander has his like holy text out and he's like dropping a few stones, trying to do like last rites.
So you would know. You recognize this name in the government circles of the city. With your wealth, you spend a lot of time with essentially politicians, decision makers. And when you've been up to the mayor's building, you've seen reference to this name. In fact, the address looks like it's pretty close to the town hall, I guess is what we'll call it.
That address, let me see it.
I just hand up the business card. I keep the key, but I hand up the business card as I continue to kind of like look over the body.
Interesting.
What's
Yes,
so interesting? Oh, yeah?
I've seen this name and this address before.
Hmm.
It is located in the mayor's office nearby. It looks like maybe a secondary office. I've seen this name. It's this gentleman or person must work in some sort of government. The worst kind of charlatans. And he's gonna pocket the business card.
I'm sorry, you're not the worst kind of charlatan?
But what I believe in is truth. When will you get that through your head? I mean, you saw it yourself. The turning morality, what a single voice can do to an entire town. And he's putting two rocks over each eye as he does like the whole like shut Godfrey's eyes.
We're still...
I said I was going to say, I think I'm tempted to identify as the best kind of.
I'm sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear it.
Oh, I said, I think I am tempted to start identifying as the best kind of charlatan. If everyone else is going to be the worst.
Well, where there's a worst, there must be a best.
Does it look from the area surrounding the body? Because I'm not getting to the body itself. Does it look like whatever attacked him or killed him then came inside, or does it look like they just left?
I would say it's hard to tell, but with the rolls you all got, it looks like they probably went to his office, looked around a bit, maybe took something, maybe didn't. You weren't really familiar with what was in his office. But that's the only place it really looks like it was. And even then, it's not like ransacked.
I eventually kind of just follow Kezia to the office, presuming that they head that way, to see if I can find like a day planner or a calendar to see if I can find like if they had a 2:00 meeting with so and so. Doubtful, but you know.
Yeah, sometimes it just works that way.
So the next meeting that's there is actually with I already forgotten the name. Bellin.
Oh, okay.
So it's not even like right that time though. It's not like a time that's passed. It's still upcoming. Yeah. So like it hasn't even happened yet. It's probably like in an hour or two.
Okay.
Father Iskander turns to the witch because they're the only ones in this room remaining. And this does not bode well for our future.
Well, I don't know. People tend to die eventually. You act surprised that it happened.
I was hoping that Godfrey would live a longer life in order to help us secure a more fruitful endeavor.
Weren't we all? So the question is, what are you going to do about it?
Man discovers a body. A man is obliged, as one of the church and as a decent human being, to investigate, or at least to report it. Perhaps we should call the authorities on this matter.
I will say, I did mention that you all could probably tell that it was magically induced. Annika, you get the impression that it was a vaesen specifically.
Okay, excellent. Is there anything that would tip me off to it being something that I recognize? Or have I seen this before on somebody?
No. You just kind of, based on your research, you know that's kind of the MO.
Okay.
If vaesen deaths aren't common, but when they are, they're either really, really terrible or hard to find and like hard to identify.
And so the fact that I'm finding this so hard to identify, I'm like, this is
yeah.
Okay.
So the question, Father, is what do you think the authorities would do in this case? What benefit could they possibly give us?
It is not about the benefit they would give us. In fact, I don't dare say they would find anything in this matter in terms of his death. However, they would be able to secure his estate, find his next of kin, will, processing, all do that is inform family and whatnot. There's things that should be done.
I guess
We
the
can't
Maker
just-
probably comes back and just listens. Yeah, except for we need to make sure we get everything we want out of this body and out of this home. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to get back in once the authorities get here.
I mean, we can't just let his body rot. It would be disrespectful.
It's going to rot eventually anyway.
It's true.
That's what they do. So we should ask it any questions we have before that happens.
Excuse me?
So we should ask it any questions we have before that happens.
How do you expect to do? Are you a corpse talker now?
No, don't be ridiculous. Corpses don't talk. Ghosts, on the other hand.
Devil magic.
No, that's something else entirely.
I do believe she said ghosts, not demons or devils, what have you. So
One should not trifle in the matches of the dead.
It's hardly a trifling
Nick.
matter. It's a very serious matter. I'm not trifling. You act like this is some sort of dessert. No, it's very serious.
Do what you must. I want no part of it, though.
Well, that answers that. Are there any other objections?
none from me.
Fascinated.
Yeah.
Well then, Father, if you want no part of this, would you at least be kind enough to watch the door?
Yes.
It would
And
be
I think
a tragedy if we were disturbed by the wrong type of people.
he just turns around and like starts tapping his foot and his well-leathered loathers. And he's not going to be able to replace anytime soon because his bank just fucking croaked.
I'm
your
afraid that
sugar
deposit
daddy's
was
gone.
not insured.
I hate that joke. I used to work there. I hate that joke.
And so Ronhild will do something that she hasn't done with this group, or honestly in a while, and she'll take some time and she'll pace around, placing various herbs at compass points and drawing strange symbols in chalk on the carpet around the body, and pulling curtains so that people can't see from outside, and also creating an appropriately gloomy atmosphere. And I'm going to use my medium talent to perform a seance to hopefully contact the dead.
Okay. Make me that observation roll.
Okay, here we go. I have a crystal ball. I'll be using that to focus it. It doesn't give me a bonus, but it sure does make me feel better.
Emotional support crystal ball.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah,
we'd all come
okay,
to
that's
that.
2. I will absolutely take 2. I'm not going to push this roll.
Cool. So, you managed to contact the spirit of Godfrey. He materializes kind of hazily in front of you compared to what you've seen from other spirits. Quickly, I don't have much time.
What would you like us to know? What do you have for us?
Go speak to Velen. He's the only one who can help you now.
Is there a present risk to us from whatever did this?
Only if you ask the right questions.
What questions do we need to ask?
Be careful with the groups you get involved with. I trust that you all will find the answer and the question. But now you need to remain safe until you get more information.
And before Runhild's final question, she'll look to Nick and Kezia to see if there's anything that they'd like to ask. Then the last question, because it is unwise to keep the dead waiting for too long, is how do you want to be remembered?
Build a memorial for me at the library.
I swear it shall be done.
It just like lights up at the word library.
Be careful. Who you think you can trust, you can't always. And with that, he dissipates.
Given the circumstances, he held on longer than I would have expected.
Can you
Does anyone have a glass of water?
Yeah, I'm sure. Nika will go start searching for one.
So Tabitha will actually go and get one,
Good.
since she's pretty familiar with the place.
Are you just able to do that just regularly?
Well, I don't exactly make a habit of it. It's risky,
Interesting.
but as you've seen, we leave an impression.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I suppose the answer is yes.
Does it have to be for somebody who's recently deceased, or?
The best answer I have for that is the weaker the impression, the greater the risk.
Okay. So the longer they've been gone, the harder it would be.
There's a lot of thought about that. Someone I once talked to mentioned that if someone's been gone for longer than history but remembered, they might be easier to call up than someone who died yesterday but was forgotten.
Ah,
It's art. There's a science to art, but it's still art.
I see.
Lot of factors to consider.
Tabitha will
Nika.
come back in with your water.
Nika, you mentioned that a concern is that when the authorities get here, you won't be able to access the. Yes.
Yeah.
You want to take the things that you know you will need before we leave and make a call.
It's not a bad idea. I'm gonna go back over to Godfrey's desk and see if I can find anything linked to the Harbingers.
Make an investigation roll for me.
Okay. Investigation. And I got 2.
Okay. So you end up finding his personal journal, which kind of dictates all of his experiences he's had with the Harbingers, who he's met along the way, types of information he's gleaned. The last few pages have been torn out.
Well, that's weird. Do I recognize any of the names as I scan through this?
So you recognize Vel in there. Godfrey's obviously mentioned. He talks about himself. All of your names are there, with a few others that you just kind of know about town. Then there's also some people you met on the last mystery, like Savannah.
Is Stephanie mentioned in that too?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Father Iskander will like disappear from sight for a second as he goes to his room in order to gather all his valuables. 'Cause he did live at the estate before it gets locked down.
Before he has a chance to exit, the witch is kind of leaning against the door from the outside without violating any, thresholds. She's just going to lean around and say, "So, are you going to continue being an ornamental garden hermit, or do you plan on getting some actual work done?"
I need to gather things from my study before they become ungatherable.
Good. We are in this together, yes?
I would believe so, yes.
I think I actually have to back out, Tabitha says.
Of
Makes
course.
sense.
We'll see you to the
Godfrey.
house.
Yes. I will need to deal with all of this. He entrusted all of his plans to me in case something were to happen. I didn't know this was going to happen, obviously, but in case.
Fair.
A lot on your shoulders. I'm sorry.
You will be missed, but do stay safe.
I
Find
imagine
that
I'll be
will for
safer
us.
than you all.
Probably not wrong there. Right, we should see this Velen then as soon as we're all ready. It seems as though he was part of the Harbingers anyways, so it's best place to go.
We
I
must
will
be
say-
careful.
A few more names. I just remember this. A few more names that you see are some key political figures in the town.
Oh, okay.
So, like, you see the mayor's name and some individuals underneath the mayor.
I'm gonna make all of these notes. Like, I take down a bunch of notes from the journal, especially like the names that are mentioned. But otherwise, I will leave the journal because I don't want people asking questions. Only I can ask those. So,
Okay, so are y'all going to the address on the card? Are you doing something else in the meantime?
probably just head. Nika's ready to head over to the place, but it depends. They'll wait for the rest of you.
Don't have anything to do beforehand. And you said
Besides cleaning up the seance site, I also have nothing else to do.
You said
I was
that
gonna
there-
say you didn't want to leave a scene, but that's kind of a pretty big indicator.
you said he had an appointment with Belen,
Helen.
yes?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we make that appointment in his stead.
Yes, we must be careful with these government types, though.
Oh yes, I don't like them very much.
No, neither do I.
Oh, good. Something we can actually agree on.
Okay. So as you kind of head towards the city center, you realize that the address itself isn't actually in the town hall. It's the building next to it,
Mm-hmm.
which is the public library, which has been closed for a few years for renovations.
Nika gets very excited. Wait, if this is where we're supposed, if this is where he is, why is he in the library? This has been closed though.
The
But
But it's
meeting
the
was
address that was given.
Yes.
The Harbingers are using the closed library as their library.
Think they'll answer if we just knock?
Oh, is it not what the key is for?
Oh, right. I forgot I had that.
It
Nika's
might
sleep
not
deprived.
be, I guess.
It may not be. Who knows?
It's worth a
Nika-
try. What's the worst that could happen?
Nika
Uh-oh.
pulls out the key, and first checks to make sure the front door is actually locked. Because if it was just unlocked, who needs to even worry? But if it's locked, we're gonna try this key and see if it works.
So it is locked, and you're trying this key, and like you start to turn it, like it would work, but then a short man pulls open the door as you're trying to open it. Where's Godfrey?
We should talk inside.
Oh no. And he like quickly ushers you all in. What happened?
Dead.
I will take a second to explain or elaborate on the library around you. So it looks like it's been out of commission for a few years, but there are indicators that it has been used, but not by the general public. So there's a little less dust in some places. You can see some of the side rooms have been boarded off. However, there's the main library, which is still open, and then there's a room that appears to be a room filled with maps off to the side. Both of which are the ones that are open right now. It's a pretty grand building. You can tell that a lot of funding has gone into it, despite that it's been closed. It's still upkept. But Velen will quickly respond with an oh no. They got to him.
Who did?
I can't say for sure yet. It's risky. Clearly.
It sounds like there were multiples then. Several groups it could be.
I mean, the Harbingers are a large organization. There's inevitably factions within it. I can't say which factions, if any, are responsible for this, but Godfrey was asking a lot of questions.
Well, now it's time for us to ask some questions of our own.
You all don't have the standing within the organization yet. I don't think you'd be able to get answers.
What about from you?
I will look into it. I have concerns about some of our other resources, though. While I ask those questions, if you could go check,
Think they
it'd be greatly appreciated.
compromised or taken?
We haven't heard from him. So we've had a gentleman named Drago in a neighboring area. He did a lot of field research for us on the vaesen. We recently lost
Really?
contact.
Is this what you and Godfrey were going to be meeting about?
In part, there's been a few other things going on. Again, just the growing disconnect between different groups of the Harbingers.
Well, Godfrey entrusted us with his tasks, and now by transition upon his passing, we must take up his.
Right, so you want us to go check in on Drago, you said the name was?
Yes,
Who hasn't been heard from in a bit, and was studying the vaesen.
yes, he's a wonderful artist. He is one of our best resources for actually being able to visualize what the vaesen looked like.
That's fantastic. Are any of his research here, or is it all with him, or?
Yes, we have some of this. You're more than welcome to use the entire library. Some things are boarded off now, but if you have specific requests or things that aren't here, we can see if we can have something unboarded.
Fantastic. Nico's
Where-
so excited.
When did
Where
you
can we
last,
find? Oh, no.
When did you last hear from Drago?
Probably about a month ago. Sometimes he gets a little into what he's doing and he'll forget. But usually it's a week or two. It's been 3 max before. So we wanted to give him some more time just in case he was really into what he was doing. But it's never been this long before.
Where was the last known location of this Drago?
It's an area that's technically part of Akvinas. It's pretty far on the outskirts, though, right near the forest.
Back into nature again. I mean, we all saw that coming.
Anything we should be wary of when approaching this Drago? See the type to, you know, try to scare off visitors?
No,
Okay.
one of the kindest souls you'll meet. A bit odd. I mean, we all are after dealing with the vaesen for a little bit. But
Right.
kind soul.
Do you know in particular what, if any particular vaesen he was studying before he went silent?
No, he didn't tell us until after he was done. We trusted him with what he was doing.
Right. Okay then. Anything else we need to know?
Like I said, you have the library at your disposal.
All right
Well
then.
then, shall we prepare?
Okay. So we'll enter the preparation phase. So you can either look for some clues, build equipment, hone skills, research, whatever you can feel is appropriate at this moment in time.
Scrooge McDuck dive into a pile of books.
I figured as much.
Nika's actually going to go see if we can find Drago's like past research and stuff like that and start to
Yeah.
go through them.
Yeah. So why don't you make me an investigation roll?
Excellent. Womp womp.
Okay. So I will say, you don't really find a lot. You find one book, really,
Okay.
that happens to be on the topic of fairies.
Okay.
Can't really tell if there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
But that's what you're able to find.
I'm going to put this book into my bag. There's been no system of taking books in or out of this library that I feel like I need to adhere to.
No,
So,
there's not. There's very clearly not.
just goes in the bag. I'm going to read more of that later.
I would like to look into the history and present condition of the area he was in.
Mhm.
Like, if they have a historical relationship with the vaesen there, or if
Yeah.
it happened recently.
So that would probably be a learning roll.
Nope, I'm not smart.
Y'all are having a hard time with this today.
Yeah, no, this session's not doing so well. Fine.
Well, it got
So-
off to a rocky start.
Yeah, this is just the prep. You have so many other chances to get clues. Like, you can get all the clues you need there.
Thank God.
This is just extra help. So unfortunately, you really can't find too much other than what Nika's already found. The vaesen aren't really a popularized topic, so they're limited books other than what Drago has been part of. But you can tell that his books are almost hidden away. Almost probably any books in the vaesen are hidden away.
Would it be possible to scour the library in order to find information about the harbingers themselves?
Mhm.
I think that'll be good. I think every, Iskander knows that everyone's kind of searching into the current case, but maybe looking at our new employers, the organization, we can find something here.
So I'll have that be either a learning or investigation. So the way I'm doing it, learning if it's like pure knowledge based, but investigation if it's kind of related to the mystery at hand, like more specifically findings, like information. This could go either way. So
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do learning then. Let's see, no whammy.
you totally just jinxed it.
Hey!
no.
Oh,
Okay. So you are able to find a couple different books on the Harbingers, surprisingly enough. The one is kind of just like a summary of the different like research that they've done on the vaesen. Another one is more of a description of the organizational structure of how it operates, with a little bit of history on how it's like came to be with that structure. It doesn't really explain, and you'll notice this from your reading of it. It seems pretty lackluster on the how and why the Harbingers were founded. The other parts of the book are very detailed, but that part is kind of bare. It's unclear whether it's bare just because it's been around so long no one knows, or if it's intentionally left bare.
Interesting. And I think Father Iskander is going to pocket the book as well.
Just that one or the other one too?
Probably both, because I think the more information we find about the Harbingers, probably the better. And he'll record the notes he finds in his journal.
Okay.
Did the rest
And
of
then
you
there was
find
one.
anything interesting?
No. Well, I mean, plenty that is interesting. Plenty that is interesting and relevant. Not so much.
I don't know what I'd even be looking for. We're just going to walk out and see what the what the contact is doing out there.
I think until we learn more, we should consider the Harbingers a neutral relationship at best.
Oh, completely.
From what it sounded like, that Valens was saying, even amidst themselves, they don't.
Huge organizations of many members tend to, everyone wants a bit of the pie, everyone wants power, and they fight themselves. The one thing you can't control at the end of the day, the big unifier in all evil, is greed.
Really, you're the one who is looking into the organization. Is it huge?
It was like you said, like expansive way, but there wasn't really like a good scale of like how many there would be.
So there's not really specific numbers.
Yeah.
But you get the impression from what you've read that like it's expansive location wise. And that there are different branches almost throughout the world and they're all in contact with each other, which the nature of just like different countries having different goals.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some factions that way.
Yeah, so what I did learn is, well, the numbers of the members of the Harbingers aren't numerous. They are expanded all across the world, different countries, which would indicate the different factions and subsects. I mean, at the end of the day, one's own interest is always backed by one's own countryhood. Makes complete sense. But they are in contact with one another.
Right.
You don't really. The book also doesn't really give where like the central location is. That's something else that seems like glaringly missing. like where the overall headquarters is.
There's definitely some information that has been left out on purpose, whether it be origin or trying to find the start of it all. It seems that not even the core members of the Harbinger trust its normal members with that sort of information. Kind of makes you think, what do they have to hide?
Probably plenty. Right.
Organization researching us? I can think of many things.
So, shall we go see if we can find this Drago?
I think that sounds like a plan.
Perfect.
So as you walk out front to the library, Velen's standing there, and he's actually indicating that he called a horse and carriage for you all to take you out of town. It's not nearly as far as it was last time. So on this part, which is kind of like the journeying phase, you can feel free to make stops along the way. So you'd have much of Akvinas to your disposal.
We're stopping for wine on the way.
We're stopping for coffee as well.
Before we left, can I have asked what Rego enjoys in terms of like food? Like, if he likes to have things brought to him when people see him?
That would be most kind of you. Anything that you could offer, frankly, no one's ever been concerned before.
My first concern about most people is whether or not they're eating.
I eat, but any gift would be appreciated.
Kezia unfortunately grew up with me and therefore got very used to having to watch over for someone who would regularly forget to eat.
And
So you keep telling me.
we will stop at like one of the little breads and cheese.
Okay. So we have coffee, wines, and cheeses, it sounds like. Are any of those things you're planning on using for the mystery itself, or more as just story?
If I can use coffee in any way, shape, or form, great, but otherwise, no.
We might be able to bribe someone with wine, but that's about it.
You generally can. Like alcohol
True.
is like a starter item for most classes.
It's true.
Yes, I have some fine wines, but they don't deserve the fine wine. They deserve the standard wine. The fine wine is for myself.
Actually, Nika probably does pick up a little bit of extra cheese and kind of wraps it. Just kind of remembering the Batir that we'd run into previously. Not that we expect to run into that specifically again, but knows that that was a good thing the last time. So, and knowing that it was a vaesen that killed Godfrey, whether or not Velen seems to think otherwise, we're kind of like, bribery might need to be happening.
Yes, I was also going to pick up extra for
Perfect.
offerings to the vaesen, so
Okay.
we'll have that.
Okay. So why don't you all role play going into the store for me? I feel like this is a good moment with the twins. And anyone else who wants to join, they just expressed interest.
We're gonna go get cheese.
We're going to the cheese store. It's
Yes!
very exciting.
Oh, you know you're an adult when. Anyways,
Honestly.
Cheese is great. I don't know what you're talking
this
about.
is amazing.
I wish there was a cheese store, just sold cheese. That was the only thing they peddled.
I'm pretty sure
there is one in Toronto. I can guarantee. Anyways,
yeah.
it's fantastic.
There's a place about 2 hours south of me that is a cheese shop with a chocolate shop next door. And
Oh,
the chocolate
goodness.
shop makes blue cheese truffles with the cheese shop's cheese.
Smart.
That
Oh,
sounds
that
so
is
good.
delightful.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so
Sounds
good.
so good.
Oh my god, I love it.
Okay.
I think like the first thing, because I assume this place has like a little like the sample where you have the bread and the cheese little trays. The first thing Kezia does is grab 3 of them and hand them to me.
So I will say, are you all going to like the fanciest of fancy cheese stores, or are you going to something smaller?
Like
What's your
a-
preference?
I would not automatically pick the fanciest
Yeah.
of cheese stores.
Okay.
I think a vaesen would want some like dirt basic cheese, some just
Dirt cheese.
Dirt
yeah,
cheese.
dirt cheese.
Okay.
Well, you never know about that. There's a lot of things that could be at play there.
So as you walk into the store, it's very much a mom and pop store, where there's a few different options. They sell cheese, but it's also almost like they sell meats too. It's almost like
Mm.
someone who has a farm out of town comes in and brings all their stuff here. And so, yes, there is a serving plate. And the shop owner is quiet until he sees you go for the samples. Be like, easy does it.
Sorry, I'm also going to buy a selection of all of them. I'm just making sure my sibling eats.
Kind of starts nibbling at it. Yeah. Just kind of like, for once, just kind of like mousy, just like nibbling away at it. Whichever one this one is, it's really good. Should get extra.
You hear the clanging of bottles into the basket.
Meanwhile, Runhill is just hovering the near the door hover of someone who has no money and doesn't want to look like she's about to put things in her coat. It's a very familiar hover.
Oh, yes. That's one of our most popular ones.
And I would pick them in separate chunks. A pound and a half of that one.
Okay.
And can I also have some bread that would travel well? We are visiting a friend, and I want to.
You should be careful with these cheeses, well, some don't travel as well.
Oh, don't worry. I think we will eat this one on the.
Yeah,
This one
one's
does
it's not lasting long.
get
And
the
every
impression you don't
cheese-
eat much.
I forget, okay? Listen, when you're studying around reading books, it gets very easy to fixate and to get lost in research, and sometimes you just forget silly things like eating or sleeping, I suppose.
This is why I should move back in.
No, I'm fine. I'm clearly holding up perfectly fine.
You forgot the most important thing about cheese. They must always be paired with a wine. 4 bottles on the counter.
Can't argue with the alcoholic here, so
This is church wine.
I'm sure it is.
probably also some of the cured meats. What do we think?
Yeah. Probably a good idea.
Whatever you recommend.
We have an adventurer's pack, essentially. People who travel in and out of town a lot.
Oh,
But we'll add some of the other stuff you suggested into it.
smart. Yeah, no, I get the feeling that this Draco person's quite like me, and therefore probably... Yeah, no, actually very, very smart, Kezia. Gods.
That was exactly my thinking. I was like, oh, someone who researches a lot? Well, I wonder what that is like.
Oh, yeah, no, you have no idea. You've never experienced that type of person before in your entire life, no.
But, yes, our friend that we are visiting also likes to read, apparently. That's wrong.
Is also an artist.
Mm.
And I think artists also forget their food sometimes.
I'm not very creative or learned on my own, so I'll take your word for it. Anything I can get for you, and like gestures back to you, Arnold.
Oh, no, I'm with them.
Okay. And they put all their stuff together, exchange money. I'm not gonna make you roll for it, because this is kind of obscure. And you're
I got
on
the
your way.
resources.
Yeah, like y'all probably fine. And then you're on your way. Is there anything anyone else wants to do on their way to the location?
Gather more rocks.
Do you
Punch
stop the
them out.
carriage whenever you want to rock? Whenever you see a rock you want?
Yeah, I think if there's like a really
Good.
nice place, like I'll be like, I halt it. Stop. This is very important. Starts gathering.
What is he doing? Is he just
Are there
gathering rocks?
Not that one.
Maybe they're
Yes.
special rocks. I don't know.
Rocks.
Are these the ones that he
yes.
makes like warm somehow? I'm gonna figure out how he does it.
Well, he probably doesn't sit on them like some sort of basilisk egg. Oh my god!
Faith,
What if he
my
sits on them
dear.
like some sort of basilisk
Faith.
egg?
While the father is getting rocks, I'm going to decide that this is in front of the theater, and I'm going to go and take a couple of wigs from my room so that I have them in case
Okay.
we need to look different.
Okay, so that's something else that you have. Father Iskander, you hear a voice in your head.
Oh, not him again.
They wonder how you perform your miracles. Be wary of questions.
Non-believers continue to be non-believers, but that professor, that they are a lost soul and they desperately need my guidance. They will learn.
Bring them to me, my child.
Oh, well, that might be difficult in the current predicament. Did you kill the professor? I had a feeling you might have.
Why would I be involved in these petty affairs?
Because you love to see the chaos it stirs up. I don't know, but okay.
And I go silent.
Scratches behind his ear, adjusts collar, goes back to the carriage.
Got some nice rocks.
Yes. And if you wonder how I do the things I do, as I could hear,
Mm.
he can't. The devil told him, but he's not going to say that.
Yeah, like clearly out of earshot.
You can just ask.
Are you gonna give me a real answer?
Are you going to keep denying that what I do is not simply beyond what your science might comprehend?
I think you know the answer as well.
Oh, the great denier. But one day you'll be able to deny it no more, and then you will know the truth.
I'm sure I will. Until then, I'll figure out how you do your little warm rock trick at some point. Just wait.
The obsidian guides all of us, even those who reject it.
Isn't
Mm.
that
Remember
more of
that.
a glass than a rock?
It's volcanic rock.
Volcanic, yeah, but the same. It's rock that has been created from fire. It is the ultimate. It is the ultimate holy of rocks.
Hmm.
So you're telling me you take orders from a rock?
No, that's silly. Why would you ever assume something like that?
Because you're talking about it like it's a god.
It's not about the rock. It's about what the rock represents.
Oh, good. It's a metaphor. Excellent.
No, metaphors
that.
are just figurative. This is what the rock is a conduit towards. You would perhaps you'd eat some of that cheese, and I can teach you about the holy rocks.
The rock
Is the-
actually gets warm in your hand. Like, it gets warm. And so,
I
like, if you
drop
want
one.
to show anyone, you can, yeah.
Is the cheese also a metaphor?
No, cheese is just good to eat.
This is always, yeah.
Here, take this rock.
Mm.
It's like burning hot.
I'm gonna like kind of take my shirt and like put just so I have like fabric in between me and this rock at this point. I'm going to smell it. Does it smell like does it give off a smell of any sort?
Why don't you make me a roll? An investigation roll.
Okay, cool.
The cheese is overpowering.
I will laugh so hard, okay?
I'm just sitting there carving away at a big
Oh, no.
stick while this is going on.
3.
You smell nothing. It smells like a rock.
Is it still hot?
Yes.
How long do they stay hot? Like after you get rid, like after you drop them?
There's not a time limit for whether or not it's not whether or not the rock stays hot. It's whether or not the rock wants to stay hot. It's whether or not the communion wants to stay put. At the Church of Rock and Flame, there are lessons we take both from the flame and the rock.
Has the rock cooled down yet?
It's like cooled down to the point where it's like holdable, but it's still like notably warm. You
Can I
can't tell
lick
if
it?
it's sure.
I'm just gonna see if it tastes like anything.
Gonna make another roll.
Sure.
Eat the rock. Let the rock become you.
No.
It is like pulling teeth from a child to get you to eat food, and you put a rock in
It
your
tastes
mouth.
like dirt. It tastes like dirt.
Good, okay.
Remember the grandest of teachings. A fire is nourished by its own ashes.
And I'm just gonna take a bite of cheese, because otherwise that was kind of gross.
Tastes a little dirt, like a little like dirt,
Yeah.
since you still have dirt on your
It's the
tongue.
dirt
but...
cheese.
Now you got the dirt cheese. Excellent. Just kind of like looks at you. Has not actually like listened to a word you've been saying. Is just fixated on the rock.
Do you give it to like anyone else?
Sure. If either Ronkild or Kezia, yeah, so I'll give it to Kezia. Is he-
Instantly cools down.
Oh. Hypothetically, what does it mean if the rock gets cold immediately?
Might mean that you are in a crisis of faith, and you must maybe meditate on that. If you wish, I can hold a teaching and speak, and we could go through the rites together. All of us. It would be a soul connecting experience. Even you.
Oh God, no.
And turns to the witch.
Oh, you don't want to connect to my soul.
Oh.
I'm not particularly good at meditating.
Also,
I know the fire.
if the cooling down of a rock says that it's a crisis of faith, and I am probably the faithless one here, why is it burning hot for me?
That's because you're starting to come around to the idea that what I say might actually make sense in certain stratospheres.
Absolutely not.
You have many fancy words, Magic Man. But I wonder if you actually have something to say behind all that.
Have I not been useful yet? Let us continue on and stop with you.
Oh,
Do
this
not
is
be
nothing
evil.
about your utility.
I can show you what faith can do. Faith can raise mountains from molehills.
Oh, God.
Faith can crush kings.
Are we there yet? We haven't even left in front of the theater, have we?
Yeah, no, still getting rocks.
Faith can make this wine taste even more delicious.
You don't have to tell me about faith. You turned your back when I was demonstrating mine.
You don't have to tell me about wine. It's already delicious.
Wine is delicious.
Okay, so the only one left who hasn't really gained like an advantage of some sort is Ranhild. Do you want to do anything?
I think rather than going for something specific, Runhild doesn't really have a pressing need to look into a lot of the facts of the history or anything about that. What Runhild is doing is watching for omens this whole time. Nothing, not casting around for any answers, but watching around for are things going well? Are things going poorly? Are there uh any signs of good fortune, ill fortune, warning signs? Just keeping an eye on the vibes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, can you make me an observation roll?
I would be delighted to.
AKA a vibe check, apparently.
Yeah. That's the closest thing I got to a vibe check.
Fair.
We have one.
Okay. So, you you predominantly get the sense of good fortune. People are experiencing good things. However, that seems to be the veneer on top of something. You see the closest omen that stands out to you is you see a gentleman conducting business on the side of the road. And it seems to be going well. But through your enlightened senses, you know that there's a pretty predominant lack in his life. You can't tell what it is necessarily, but he's focusing on one thing exclusively and neglecting other parts of his life. Does that help?
So before the group sets off from the front of the theater, Rodhill's just going to lean forward and say, so a word of advice and warning. She's going to take the stick that she's been carving and tap on one of the decorative logs out front of the theater that, you know, people sit on while they're waiting. Not everything is ever as it seems, but sometimes, and then she'll flip it up, and beneath it's just it's the home for bugs, and it's the loam and the natural order of rotting away. There's more going on under the surface than there seems. I have a feeling that we're going to be walking into something like that.
I'd be surprised if we weren't. Such is the case with vaesen more often than not.
At this point, me too.
There's always something that you can't see. Just figuring out how to.
So as you leave the town and you're in the carriage, as you get on the outskirts of town, the buildings are further and further apart. They do seem newer, though, as if they've been built recently. It doesn't have that same clustered and unkept feel of the center of the city, where there's significantly more activity. And eventually you get to the edge. And by this point, it is significantly warm. It's hot. And there's insects flying about, people working. You hear the sound of people working in the forest as they're chopping wood. And you slowly make your way to where you've been told Jago would be. In this area, because like I said, it's the outskirts, there's a few different houses. There's a bar where everyone goes. But you also know that, just because your general knowledge of the city, that there's a logging company near here that kind of A, sells lumber overall, but B, clears the space for the city to expand. Are you going to immediately go to Drago's abode?
Think so.
Best
Your
place to
cheese-
start.
Cheese might go bad.
So
Okay.
if he's missing, it's good to know now than later.
Yeah, that too.
So, do you barge right in? Do you knock?
Knock.
There's no answer.
don't
Especially
know-
if you just knock.
Yeah. I don't know what to try next. I don't normally show up at people's homes.
Iskander will take a step forward and place his hand on the door, knock politely, and go, "We are looking for a certain artiste by the name of Drago."
You hear something fall over inside, but there's not really a response.
Bingo.
Knock a few more times. I normally need at least 3 runs of knocking for me to answer a door.
I knock a little bit harder. "We are here to see the researcher and artist Drago, who may or may not have gathered some interesting notes."
I'm
Lem-
sneaking around the back while this
There's
is going on.
There's still no answer.
Tell Velen sent us.
They can hear you. You're also right outside the door. You know that, right?
I know, but you're louder.
I'm going to see if there's an alternate way in,
But you're-
perhaps a window or a back door or something.
Y'all never actually tried to open the door. I do want to say that.
You know what? I was trying to respect this person's privacy, but I'm trying now to assert my authority by going in anyway. I open the door.
It's not locked, yeah.
Oh.
Like, you can find another way in, but it's not locked.
Well, this way we're sure that no one goes out the back while they're pounding on the front door.
Okay. So you're still going around back then. They
Yeah.
head in the front. It is a mess. Like, I kind of imagine it would be what Nika's home's like. Like, just things everywhere.
So perfectly normal. I don't know what you're talking about.
So it wasn't normal. It's just particular. Like, you can see my background. Instead of it being like books, though, like there are a few books, but it's more artist supplies.
Mm.
Like, there are drawings everywhere, like sketchbooks, just utensils. A lot of it's like half finished too. And that's kind of what you walk into. There's like a typical like kitchen and stuff on the side. There's stairs leading up to what you presume would be the bedrooms. And there is another room in the back. And that's kind of, you hear noises still. That's kind of where they're coming from.
So the door was unlocked. Did it look like it had been broken or just left unlocked?
Left unlocked.
Going towards the noise, Nick's just like, Mister? I guess he's a Mister. I don't know. I didn't ask. Drago, we're here to check in on you. I'm a fan of your work. I was reading the one on fairies. Are you okay? And I'm gonna go try the door to the room that noise
Open.
is coming out of.
I'm
gonna open.
Inside, you see a gentleman ferociously working on a piece of art. And it's significantly larger than any of the other pieces you've seen. He like doesn't even really seem to notice that you're here.
Mm-hmm.
He is looking like he has a plate of like uneaten food next to him. Very much like doesn't look like in a little on the gaunt side. Like has been very like focused on this and only this for quite some time. When I say large, it's like mural sized. Like it's almost like his entire wall.
Does he doesn't like do anything when we walk in?
He doesn't like seem to notice that you're even here.
I am going to grab a piece of bread, put a piece of cheese on it, walk over, and put it directly in front of his face.
I
like-
know this tactic.
He like jumps back a little bit, like, who are you?
Yeah, pleased to meet you. Eat this.
I'm busy.
Do you want to drop dead in the middle of your painting?
I need to finish it.
Why?
Same question
My
as
greatest work
before.
yet. And he
Okay,
like
well-
kind of takes some and like eats, but like still like only eats with one hand and like continues
that-
painting.
That is fine. Just if you die from starvation, you cannot finish the big painting.
I need to work on it before the inspiration leaves.
Inspiration. I'm gonna look at this painting. Can I see, like, make out anything out of it?
Yeah, so make me an investigation roll.
Cool. 1.
So you've spent some time looking at this painting. It's like a very large scene of a forest. It's what you're kind of seeing so far.
Mhm.
It's still like a lot less as the details aren't in, but it's clearly a scene of a forest. You know, based on reviewing the books, or at least the book that you've seen, a lot of his pieces have been more individual things, like a singular vaesen, or like maybe
Mhm.
one or two if like they're like interact. But never really a scene. Like this
Yeah.
seems different.
There's nothing in the scene yet, though. There's just starting on forest.
Yeah.
Is the inspiration outside of your home, or is it just all something you've seen in your mind?
Y'all are gonna have to make a manipulation roll to get him to like focus on something else.
Does anybody else want to try this?
I can do that. I'm quite good at that.
Oh, good. I'm not.
I'm going to like try and pick him by the shoulders and get him to eat, like if then talk to us.
I don't have an assist so much as an ask. Does he seem just focused, or does he seem actually like entranced and drawn to it?
That's 3.
I say focus. Like he's not like entranced to like this particular. I'm trying to think how to explain it. He's not like entranced to this particular piece, and it's not like in a daze, but it is like feverishly focused. That's something you don't really see very often, like to this extent.
But it's more like just continuing on the line of I'm really hyper focused into this unless I'm enchanted by this painting somehow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'd say.
Good.
Hopefully that like it's a very fine line that we're walking right here. So like
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't like tell you off later. But like yeah. Okay, so with the manipulation, okay. Like you kind of like snap your fingers in front of him and kind of like pull him away a bit. It's like, what do you want?
We are here to check in on you from the Harbingers. They have not heard from you in a very long time. and are concerned.
Never me when I'm done. Like, I do make my own assignments. It's fine.
What's the
Yes.
one you're working on right now?
It's a scene of where I normally paint.
Is that nearby here?
Yes. Sometimes I'll go and take notes elsewhere. And like do sketches to bring them back here.
Do you have a sketch of what you're working on then?
So he like kind of gestures vaguely, and like it's just a pile of sketches. Like, it's a lot there.
Okay. I'll start like leafing through it absentmindedly, but I don't know.
Yeah. Any
How
other
long have-
question?
How long have you been working on the painting?
Oh, several weeks.
And
What is so important about this spot that you're painting?
Kind of gets like a inspired look in his eye when he's talking about it. Like not quite like more focused than dazed, but like mystical, I guess like you'd say. Um it's a spot where vaesen tend to gather and interact with one another, and it's just a truly mesmerizing place. I want to capture it.
It's important to you, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
Uh,
we've come to check in on him. He is okay. As one could possibly be in the situation.
in terms of like, aside from obviously he has not been eating and doing essentially exclusively this for 3 weeks, does anything else seem like off or wrong about him?
I mean, like, it's to the point where, like, on the verge of, like, unhealthy. Well, like, no, it is unhealthy. Never mind. It's not on the verge. It just is unhealthy. Like, he's very gaunt. And, like, when he, like, walks from place to place, it's almost more like a stumble than, like, a firm walk. Just his body doesn't have, like, the energy to continue.
In other words, he's certainly not actually doing fine.
Yeah.
Not at all. Would you be so kind as to pen us a letter or something that we can bring back so that we have proof that you are all right?
Sure. And like he kind of like makes his way over to a table and he like falls.
yeah, no.
That says that.
All right.
And he actually like faints.
All right.
Yeah,
There's a problem here.
there is. From my recollection, like from any of my reading, have I ever heard of like a vaesen perhaps like mesmerizing somebody to the point of obsession?
Make me a learning roll. And you can have a +1 to this because like you picked up like the books.
Okay. I was gonna say otherwise I can use my collection of books.
You can also use that too. You can use
Okay.
that plus like the book that you picked up specifically for
Okay.
this.
So 2?
Because
Okay,
like
sure.
they'll be related, yeah.
Hyper focusing, obsession. Oh, he's not in trance. He's just neurodivergent. I would know that.
It's just 1.
Okay.
I know.
So you do know that this can happen from a vaesen. It's a little unclear on like which one it is specifically.
Yeah.
But you did pick up the book on fairies that he
I
had
did.
drawn predominantly, and fairies are capable of that. In and of themselves. And through tertiary means.
Okay. Right, so I'm pretty sure this is... They've clearly been impacted by a vaesen.
Hmm.
I'm guessing a fairy, personally, but I'm not entirely certain.
That would be something to be able to diagnose it just from looking at him. Even if there's a clear or initial suspect.
Yes, well, I mean, I do read a lot, so sometimes it is possible. That said, I don't know what to do with him. Can we find him his bed or something? I don't know what to do with the body. Sorry, I'm treating it like it's dead.
I know, I was gonna say the
very
body.
morbid.
He's alive.
He's not good at people, okay?
We'll take him and just Father Skinner kneels and why is the old man doing this? And picks him up.
He's like fighting.
From being unconscious?
Oh wait, well, like it's a feigning spell. Like it doesn't like last like
Oh,
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
he was
so-
Or
unconscious.
toppling over.
yeah, it's
unless-
like feigning for like a minute or two and then like arising. So like it's not like out for hours. It's like a brief feigning spell. Think of like the girls in like the stereotypical like Western movies where they swoon. It's like
Yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah, so no, he's gonna fight you on like being carried.
Take a rock. Push towards his head. Forehead. The-
Again with the, at least you're not hitting him with the stones.
We will
Uh
I have a question.
Oh no.
So my talent allows me to use a secret religious item I have in order to attack vaesen ranged. Am I able to like counteract like effects of vaesen using this?
I would say not in this so like if the
Okay.
Vaesen is close by and you were targeting the Vaesen, then yes, because that would stop the effect because the Vaesen would have to
Mm-hmm.
focus on it, but not to just stop an effect.
Okay.
So not like speculatively.
Yeah.
Well, like you could use it like on someone, like if you suspect someone's a Vaesen, like you could use it on them, but like you can't use it to resolve an effect on someone else. Does that make sense?
And yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And I think as he's going, he's like, you won't be able to paint if you're dead, and if you're dead, you won't be able to finish your masterpiece. Just take a small nap, and you'll be back to drawing in no time.
Yeah, so he like tries to fight, but he's clearly like too weak to do anything. Like he just like kind of like, yeah, like wears himself out within like a minute.
There you
Get the
go.
man into bed. I'll brew some herbal tea and we can decide what we're going to do from there.
A little bit of wine. Keep him out for a bit.
I,
You don't think you won't need the wine to keep him out for like a little bit? Like he has no energy.
We're gonna just tuck him in.
I mean, I do think that perhaps we should restrain him because I think the second he thinks he's able to, he's going to get back up and get back to painting and hurt himself. I am very curious to go find this place that's in this painting.
I was thinking the same thing.
It's important, but I agree we should make sure that if we are going to be out of the house checking in on the
Yeah.
clearing, he is not painting himself to death.
Yes.
We must be careful not to undergo the same fate.
That also, I don't particularly want to draw myself to death.
Mm,
Oh, I'll be fine. I don't know how to paint.
yeah, I would just draw nothing. Actually, it would be blobs. It would not go well. I could write. I could. Oh God, if I wrote myself to death, that'd be terrible.
Kezia
That would
is
be
giving
rather
you
terrible.
the most deadpan of looks.
Yeah, I know. Just looks at you.
Stone-faced.
I don't know why you're giving me that look. And just kind of goes out the door.
Okay.
Okay. So are y'all just going to this place and you don't know where it is in the forest?
Well, I'm gonna turn back around as soon as I realize I don't know where it is and look at that photo again. And like start looking at some of the sketches.
Yeah, so not a photo.
Yeah, mural.
Yeah. So you're able, like, you could try and figure it out from the like mural. It'd probably be pretty difficult.
I have an idea. Why don't we let him sleep? And when he wakes up, we'll have a nice meal together and we'll ask him to take us there. Might solve two problems at once.
If he could tear himself away from his painting long enough.
That might be the challenge, but we wouldn't have to try to lock him away from painting supplies. And we also wouldn't have to figure out where the place is.
That
And
works for
he will
me.
have eaten cheese.
Mm,
You will have eaten.
The elixir of life.
it is. Okay.
I check like the food wares and just the storage. I check to see if like, is there just like a layer of dust and everything? Is there any food that's left, or is it all like rotten? I guess I'm trying to gauge how much time has passed since he's been in this state.
Yeah, so there's some things have gone bad. But it's not like an excessive amount. Like things that you would expect to last like several weeks are obviously fine.
Yeah.
It seems like it's exactly what he said. Like it's been several weeks, but he hasn't like gone shopping for more food than it seems.
Mhm.
There's like maybe a couple things that are newer. Almost like someone has brought him food to eat, but not a lot.
Well, if you could somehow make a feast out of this, well, maybe you are magical as you say you are.
That's not magic. That's just cooking.
Someone equate this magic to cooking.
Here, let me see what I can do about a meal. And while I'm doing that and while he's resting, why don't you go ask the loggers if they have observed anything strange? I don't know.
That's not a bad idea. They probably see all parts of this woods. Let me see if and I'm going to start going through the sketches to see if there's one that is good enough to maybe get an idea of, like, to at least it's clear enough.
Yeah, so
because I can't bring the mural with me. So
Can you?
make
I mean, I guess not with that attitude, but
make me an investigation roll for how much you
Okay.
how much you're able to do from this.
that's fair.
Okay. So you can tell it's a little ways into the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell there's a few like recognizable like trees there. But the thing that's predominantly stands out that'll give you like an indicator of where it's at is that it's a glade. So it's like a space of just openness in the trees. In like a perfect circle almost.
That adds a little more weight to the possibility of a fairy ring.
I'm happy to go talk with the loggers if anybody else wants to come with me, and maybe then the others can stay and keep an eye on our friend here and make sure nobody else tries to come into the house either.
Yes, I'll come. You're not the best talker anyway.
Fair enough.
I suppose the two of us will take care of him until he wakes up.
Did you see a broom around here?
I can go look for one.
This place needs a thorough cleaning.
I agree.
Make sure to drink some wine.
Let's see if he has a cabinet with any sort of cleaning supplies whatsoever.
And I'll start a stew going or something. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So y'all do that, and then you two, do you go straight to the logging company?
I feel like they'd make the most sense just because they probably have the most experience
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
woods.
Okay.
So yes.
So you don't have like an exact indicator of where the logging company is. However, there's almost a notable like encampment on the edge of the forest. It seems to be like a center of operations. For where people are working out of to kind of oversee the logging. It may not be like the exact logging company, but it's where they're managing it from.
Okay.
As you approach, you hear it's loud. Like they're loggers, like it's loud. And you see one man in particular giving directions, like instructing the others on what they're doing.
He looks as good as anybody. You think you should approach him?
I mean, we have to start somewhere.
All right. So we'll just kind of walk up and approach, see if we can get his attention. Kind of wait patiently, because obviously he's trying to direct people.
Okay, so make me manipulation. And I imagine Father Iskander will be doing it, and then like Nick will be helping.
Yes.
Nick will be like, "Hi, yes," like me. Oh,
Student in class from the back, just kind of trying to hide it.
And I am
Yeah,
also here.
Iskander walks up and is just like, "Hello there, good sir. I'm from the Church of the Rock and Flame. I'm Father
not
Iskander.
interested.
This is my
Busy.
acolyte."
I'm not
Not
no,
interested.
No, not an acolyte. So,
And he's like walks away.
oh
Like,
no, sir. Oh god. Well done.
there
Jesus.
are like other loggers nearby.
Yeah, going to go move to the next one.
I am Father Iskander. This is my acolyte.
No, I'm not an not
Will you
not
stick
not
with the
the
story?
acolyte.
Why are you fighting me here? It's going to really ruin the store with the conversation we're trying to have with these people.
We're not trying to lie to these people.
And tell them the Harbinger Society. With the,
Well, no, I'm not telling them that either.
Can we
We're
help
just trying
you?
to get direction. Yes. Hi. Sorry.
hello.
Ignore my friend here. Clearly,
This isn't a safe place to be.
No, I know. I was hoping
Oh.
there's a place in the woods that we're trying to find. There's a glade, that's kind of like a perfect circle, in the midst of trees. Do you know where that is? That sounds so weird when I ask that.
A clearing.
I mean, we've seen it. Yeah, I guess it's just a place in the forest.
Do you know? Can you give us directions, maybe?
That way. It's a straight shot. Any points?
Do you know of an artist type character named Drago that lives out here?
Yeah. We've seen him in the forest a few times. Let's be careful of him.
Be careful of him. You have to say just.
Well, I
you
mean,
know.
like, don't want to like injure him. It's a liability.
Have you noticed his behavior changing in the last few weeks?
Can't say I've been paying enough attention. Here to work.
I see. And you usually are amicable to this Drago?
Not
Or has he caused you
amicable.
trouble?
Like, just two people existing in the same area. Like, nothing really.
Okay, thank you.
Why are you asking so many questions?
He's really nosy. It's a weird thing to get used to, or at least I'm not used to it still. Come on, Father, let's go. And Nick just starts walking in the direction that
Y'all
was
aren't even
pointed.
asking the right. Well, y'all, they're in Texas now. You all aren't even asking the right questions.
What's the right question then?
Oh, here we go.
There's been so many people disappearing. Well, not so
Wait,
many. It's been
what?
like one or two.
What do you mean?
Animal attacks. They just started up.
Oh God, not here too. Oh.
Have you seen an abundance of rats recently?
Rats with knives, perhaps.
Yeah.
No?
Right. No, that's fine. That's a very oddly specific question. Do you have names on who has disappeared or when?
Yeah. So a few of our loggers. There was Luca and Vera.
Did they share anything in common? Were they stationed in the same part of the woods?
They were out drinking and they disappeared after that.
Late at night?
Decently so.
At the same time or at different times?
Well, different days, but
Different
like
days. Okay.
there's not like both out drinking at night. Like
Mm.
when they left the bars, like no one really been paying that close of attention.
Right. And how long ago was the last one that went missing?
Few days.
Do you think the glade has anything to do with it? Clearing?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like their bodies haven't been found there.
Right. Of course not. You have said. Goodness. Any other weird things happening?
Well, make a manipulation roll. Because this is someone else. So. And Father Iskander can do it with assistance. Y'all are both asking questions, so I want to make sure you get like the most information possible.
It's fair. And I would only have like 2 dice being rolled if I did it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
It's a good one.
I mean, that's the only thing that's really weird, but like it's been a pretty big impact on the company. If much more continues, there's rumors that we'll have to close up shop.
I see. Would be quite unfortunate if you were out of job.
I mean, the town's got to expand. There's nowhere to go right now. More people are coming every day.
Is overpopulation really that something that's pressing matter to the ones in charge?
Look, I get paid to cut down trees. That's not a me
Sick.
question.
Right.
More interesting things every day.
Do Luca and Vera have family or anything within town? Significant others?
Maybe. Well, I don't think that they had significant others. There's rumors that they were like that they left the bar with like a woman.
Okay. Anybody else see this woman?
Yeah, like I think she's been seen around town.
Do you have a description of her at all or no?
Yeah, so she has like long blonde hair, very pale. But that's pretty much all.
Right.
Not really a lot to go off of, but
I haven't
Thank
seen
you.
her, like, I haven't interacted with
No,
her.
no, no, of course.
You mentioned rats earlier. Why did you mention rats?
the last time we went to had a rat infestation. They were also lumbers.
They were fishers.
Wait, did they have a sawmill? Wasn't there like a sawmill?
It was a water
It was a
mill.
water
Oh,
mill.
it was a water
Yep.
mill. Sorry, it's been a while.
No, I just thought it was funny. I mean, there's just normal rats here. Did recently start seeing goat tracks, however. There must be like a herd coming by. I don't know.
want to steal a goat. Anyways,
So you want to steal a goat, or you don't
Or
want
you
to steal a
don't,
goat?
yeah.
no, I kind of want to steal a goat, but that's for other reasons. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
Heist,
That
go,
took me a
heist, go,
second.
heist.
We just
Good
take
luck with
every
that
animal
one.
we find.
Listen, if I can bring goat heist into every game I play, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Was it the same tavern that they both left with this woman?
Yeah, there's only one in the area.
Okay, perfect.
What's the name of the tavern?
I mean, it's
Just the
like a
tavern.
days of spot, just a tavern, yeah.
Yeah. When there's only one, you don't really need a name.
Don't
You're
need a
just
clever
the
name.
tavern. The OG tavern.
We might want to go
Alright.
talk to the other two about this. Although I really want to go see that glade. I really want to go to that clearing, but I'd maybe wait until
The temptation is real.
temptation is very real.
Yes, we should regroup before we do that. That would be the wise thing to do. Because apparently we are fighting with in that book about fairies, did it mention them having goat-like features?
Did it? Did what I read mention any of
Make
that?
me a learning roll.
Oh, okay, yes. Ooh, even better. I like that. I like learning.
Okay. So the fairies themselves don't have goat legs generally. But one of those tertiary groups I was talking about, or
Mm.
you mentioned earlier, does sometimes have goat legs. So, like, not fairies themselves, but creatures or entities associated with fairies.
Some of the creatures associated with fairies can be known to have goat legs.
Well, then disappearing people, attempting to close up the shop of the lumber mill, or the lumbering company, sorry, not the mill. It makes a lot of sense that they must have pushed too far into the woods, into their home, and now they're fighting back.
Probably, honestly. I'd be surprised. However, what this woman has to do with it is what I'm very much curious about. So, we may want to make a visit to this tavern, see if we can't find her.
Should we swing by and pick up the others?
We need to go get those two, yes. And
Yes.
also see if the gentleman if Drago's at all doing better.
If there's anyone that would do and excel well in a bar, I imagine it would be Kezia.
Oh yeah, no, she got a way to entertain the masses, no problem there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you two head back. And you find Kezia and Ragnhild
Were there any?
basically
was there,
taking care of the house.
was there a broom anywhere in
yes,
this house?
yes. It's like a normal house. Like there'd be everything that you would expect to find there.
Okay.
It just hasn't been used recently.
While some of the staples are cooking down, Kezia and Ronhild are just going at it with the broom and moving piles from place to place so that they can dust underneath them and just cleaning house. Throwing away the old moldy food immediately.
Collecting all the pieces of laundry that they've just been thrown about and putting them into one consolidated place so that eventually laundry can get done.
Okay. So you two walk in and find them doing that.
You two have been busy, I see.
You
Well-
know, figure it is better to wake up to a clean house.
Not wrong.
Or at least this will help get some of his distractions taken care of. And help.
Ragnhild, I'm surprised you haven't made the broom dance or act on its own yet.
What? No, why would I do that?
Also, we have slightly bigger issues. Apparently, people are going missing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that is a bigger issue.
Two of the loggers, Luca and Vera, have disappeared after drinking at the tavern. Apparently, last seen leaving with a woman with long blonde hair and who is very pale. That's all we've got.
They didn't disappear together, did they?
No,
Just under
different
the
nights.
similar. Okay.
Separately?
Just similar circumstances. Last one went missing a few days ago. And really, if more people from the logging company disappear, it sounds like they may have to close up shop.
Well, such a
That
shame.
sounds. Well, if it is anything like the last situation we dealt
Yeah.
with, maybe the logging has disturbed the vaesen at least. Yeah.
It's possible. Oh, and there may be some connection to the tertiary creatures that are kind of associated with fairies. Possibly involving goats or goat legs or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting indeed.
That's we need to get the directions to the clearing.
Oh, good.
But there's a lot. There's suddenly a lot, and I don't think I was expecting that. Is our friend awake yet?
Oh, he hasn't quite woken yet, which is
Okay.
good because the stew isn't quite ready yet.
Fair. Smells great.
So as you're inquiring about whether or not Drago has woken up, you hear someone trying to open the door out back. And shortly after that noise, you see a woman walk in with long blonde hair, really pale,
How
and
convenient.
saying, "Oh, Drago, I'm here to see your work."
Who are you?
No.
And we'll end it there for tonight.
Ah! Dang.
Mwah.